And this is just a bit of a refresher so we know what we're doing. Now, the family have said this week that they are really desperate for people to come forward. The courts have closed the case, the police have closed the case, and they are saying they will only investigate if new information comes forward. So we need to find that new information. We need people to come forward who are on holiday around that time or live there, who may have seen anything. And sometimes in these cases, that balloon behind me is really irritating me. I'm getting rid of these boxes today as well. It's really, really imperative that somebody knows something, and we know somebody must know something. And that something may be to do with Josh, or that something may be that they've experienced something similar to what ended up taking Josh's life. So it may be that they got into a bizarre taxi one day. It could be that there is local rumours going around. And we know with these things normally, especially in Spain. Hey, Daryl, are you okay? I believe in these cases, most of the time, people kind of know what's happened, or there'll be rumours, there'll be talk, especially after Josh's body was found. There will be people who said, like, oh, do you know that guy? I also believe Josh was with people at the time of his life being taken. I don't believe this was any kind of medical emergency. It makes no sense. There is no way that a young, fit and healthy man goes on holiday. He's only just got there. There's uneaten food in his hotel room. He goes out of the hotel for the first time, goes into an area he could never know existed, which looks like a wooded area, and it's off the beaten path. And at that moment, his body decides to just give out on him for good. There is just no way. It's not even probable. And in these cases, if I honestly thought there was even a chance of that, I would have said to Josh's family, like, I really can't help you. Like, I deal with true crime cases, not like medical stuff. And as sad as that is, obviously I don't have any expertise there. I just don't see how that could be possible. It's not like Josh was dying beforehand. He had medical issues. He was likely to just die. He had plans, and he had well planned his trip. I'm going to just plan this. He had well planned his trip. He knew exactly what he was doing for the whole holiday. He knew he had an itinerary. He had booked tables to go and watch football games. He knew Wolves were playing. Yeah, so Justice for Josh Rogers changed. This is Justice for Josh Rogers. If people can follow this account, this is Ash, Josh's sister. So if you can follow, she's posting loads of videos. And when you hear about this case, it would really benefit you to go across to this profile and watch the videos, because you can see the family walking the route where Josh was found. You can see them kind of taking you to the place where Josh's body was found. You can see what's opposite it on either side. So you can see just how, even for him to be in this area, an overgrown little alleyway of that would lead into woods. I'm going to go totally through it now, Anna. There was just no explanation, none. So it's going to be on Justice for Josh Rogers. So let me just quickly go to this Facebook page, because I also want people to follow the Facebook page if you can. Let me just open this page. So it's Justice for Josh Rogers. At this moment in time, there's under 1,000 followers there. And that's simply not good enough. That's a good post, actually. Anyone who's staying at these hotels. So he was staying at the Blue Sea Mont Vista Hawaii Hotel in Lloret de Mar in Spain. So this is kind of the area. So let me just move Josh up way so I can show you. This is kind of the area where he was staying. This is the hotel here. Yeah, so the Facebook and the TikTok are really good pages to follow, because they give you all the information. So I'll give you an introduction to this case. We will talk about it, and then obviously you can go away, do your own research. We'll be meeting here pretty much every day this week to kind of talk about it.
We will not stop.
And this is one of those cases where the more you guys can kind of help, the more you kind of ask questions and post in groups and kind of ask people. Especially if you know people who go to Spain regularly, you may have gone to this area before. If you have any local knowledge or any kind of answers, because I've not been to that area before, where you can contact Ash and just say, like, I don't know if you thought about this, but this is kind of what happened when we went there. Any kind of input could help, because we're in a race against time at the moment, because we have to get these answers now, because police aren't doing anything. And you guys have followed me long enough to know that the Spanish police don't do anything. Unless they are fully forced into doing it, they don't do nothing. Absolutely nothing. Let me just get to where I'm going with this. I wonder if you find that post that I used last time that had the timeline completely written, but I'm just trying to find it. Loads of you have posted on there since you've joined. Will it be a pinned post or not? Is this it? Got it. Thank you. Okay. So, we're going into, it's only happened in September of last year, 2025. So Josh went on a holiday to Lloret de Mar in Spain on a lone trip, which he'd done a few times before to different places, never to this place before, but he'd gone to different places before. And him travelling on his own was not out of the ordinary at all. He was a young single man. He arrived at Barcelona airport late, and prior to the holiday, Josh had made loads of different arrangements, including with a taxi driver from that area to pick him up from the airport and transfer him to his hotel. So this was a man who prepared every little point of his stay in the country. He had booked every place that he was going to go. He knew what he was doing on every day. He had even phoned a local bar to book a table to watch the Wolves game because he didn't know how busy it was going to be. So this is a man with forethought and planning. He wasn't somebody who was planning to go there for one day or take part in criminal activity. He was going on a holiday by himself, and he knew what he was doing. So he gets the taxi driver to pick him up from the Barcelona airport to take him to his hotel. And on the way there, he asks the taxi driver to pick up a kebab for him, and they drive to a kebab shop. And then Josh arrives at his hotel on the 1st of September, 1 a.m. on the early hours of the 19th to the 20th. So he arrives at 1 a.m. Now, police did not give the family any response when they asked for footage of him checking in. Now, on Saturday the 20th of September, Josh sends a worrying message to his family, to a family member. Now, I have that last text here. Give me a second because I've got to go back to last week's stuff. Give me a minute. I want you to see it. Okay, thank you so much. So this is important, right? So his last message, mate, I fucked up good and proper. This message says a lot to me, a lot, because this tells me that this wasn't something where this is just a medical emergency. It feels like Josh realised at some point he'd made a mistake, that he had trusted the wrong person, agreed to go with the wrong person, got into the wrong vehicle, that something had happened that made him feel like something was spiralling out of control. Does everyone agree on that? That if this is the last message you ever get from your family member, that you would not be able to get past this? Because it doesn't seem like, this is heartbreaking. Like, he's in a different country, and we know that he'd never been there before, so we know that it's unlikely that he knew somebody there beforehand to plan trouble. It seems like it was something that happened spur of the moment to me. So he did try to call them straight after, but the family member, because of the time difference stuff, was away from his phone. So it seems like at that point, we just assume it was Josh. I would say it probably is, and they recognise his language, his punctuation, etc. After that, there was no further contact with Josh, so I would imagine it was the last time he had access to his phone. By the way, his phone has never been found. Police think he had a medical emergency, according to Spanish police. He had a medical emergency, he died on the spot, and his phone and his money ran away. Just to let you know that. So, hey, skin deep, Daniel. So we know that Josh sent this worrying message. He was seen on CCTV at the door of his hotel room speaking to a cleaner. He was then seen on CCTV exiting the hotel front door at 12:23 p.m. with his phone in his hand, and his family believe he had all of his euros on him at the time because it was not found in his hotel room. His key card to his room was left on his bed, and I think this is important because this could be that Josh was panicking, that he wasn't thinking clearly, but for a man who has planned every detail of his holiday, including booking a hotel transfer for a local taxi company. Hey, Meg. Does he seem like the kind of man who's not taking his hotel key? A man who has forward planned everything else of his holiday, knows exactly what euros he's going to take, knows exactly who's going to take him where at what point, what tables he's going to book for football games. Does he seem like the kind of man that's just not taking his key? because to me, this isn't like Josh. To me, Josh, by the way he's planned this holiday, and I don't know, Mash can confirm if I'm wrong, he sounds like someone as he's leaving the hotel room, like he's like got euros, got key, got phone, ready to go. And I feel like I'm that way on holiday as well, because I'm out of my comfort zone. So he seems like someone who is, I get that, Annie, but it depends on who you are. To me, it seems like Josh is someone who was highly capable and knew that he'd need everything. His sister says yes. So he'd taken, his key card was left on his bed, he'd taken everything else. His mum had not heard from him on Saturday and become concerned, as she was in constant contact. And Dion here is Josh's mum, by the way. So this is his mum. So please be aware that we do have family members in the room before you want to put crazy stuff out there that aren't helpful. So his mum always heard from him, and I feel like they were in regular contact most days, really close family. And at this point, she was like, I've not heard from Josh. And normally Josh would want to speak to his family, especially about day-to-day stuff and what he was doing on holiday. So on Sunday, the 21st of September, his mum remembered that she had spoken to Josh about who he was arranging the transfer through the taxi driver. And she mentioned the name of the guy that she'd found on the Lorette de Mar Facebook page. So she then finds the taxi driver and sends him a quick message and says, did Josh arrive okay? Did you take him to his hotel? And the taxi driver says, yeah, everything went fine. I dropped him. This was the time I dropped him back. And Dion then asks the taxi driver, could you please go back to the hotel and check that Josh is okay, because no one can get hold of him? And the taxi driver then says, yeah, I'll go the next day. Like, I'll go tomorrow, which is Monday for you. So on Monday, the 22nd of September, 2025, the taxi driver was told by the hotel that Josh had not been seen at the hotel since Saturday. He passed on a message from the hotel for, they wanted Josh's mum to phone the hotel herself so that they could report him missing as a missing person, because she's his next of kin. And during this time, his family were posting on all social media and Lorette de Mar Facebook pages that Josh was missing and that they wanted to find him. On Saturday, Josh's football team Wolves had a match, and that evening it was on the TV. And Josh absolutely would have gone to watch that. He was a diehard Wolves fan, and he had already booked a table at a local place to go and watch it. Now, we don't know if he did, but we can't confirm that, but it is believed that he was not around at that point to even go to the game, if you get what I mean. He was already deceased. So it doesn't seem possible that if he was just okay, that he wouldn't have gone to that game. So on Tuesday, 23rd of September, Dion heads out. She goes to book flights to fly out on Wednesday, the day after, which is this is on the Tuesday, because she wants to go and try and find Josh, and no one's helped him. So he didn't go to the place he was supposed to. Brilliant, thank you, Dion. Now, at that point, as his family, his mum and his stepdad, that's right, isn't it? It was his mum and stepdad that were going to go over. They booked their flights. They're due to leave on Wednesday, but then on Tuesday they hear that a body has been found in a wooded area in Lorette de Mar. Thank you. And so loads of people, obviously local people, are then reaching out to Dion and Ash and saying the place where he went, there's a body that's been found. So on the morning of Wednesday, as they're about to fly out, which is the 24th of September, the taxi driver messages Dion and says, I believe the body is Josh, and he's got lost in the forest or died of natural causes. He also then sends the article they've already seen. Now, this is odd to me for a taxi driver, not only to just assume the body is Josh without seeing the body, but also give a cause of death. Like, you're a taxi driver, you're not a pathologist. And to me, personally, if you guys said to me, oh, there's a young man that's been found dead in the wooded area next to your house, I'm thinking probably other things first. I'm thinking maybe suicide, I'm thinking maybe crime, maybe because of the heat. I'm thinking lots of things, but natural causes is not the one thing I'm thinking of. Also, he was literally, it wasn't sunshine. There's literally a small, I'm going to show you in a minute, but there's only a small little walkway that Josh has been found from. He is not in any kind of forest area. Hey, Anne, are you okay? So, Mum asked if he's sure that it's Josh. Oh, hey, thank you everyone who knew Josh. I know it's not particularly easy to listen to details when people actually knew Josh, but we need people to come forward. So his mum said, are you sure that it's Josh? And the taxi driver said, yep, it seems it is. And I wonder if he hadn't seen Josh's body or hadn't been to that area before, how he would be even, no problem, that he would even be, you know, I wouldn't want to just make that guess for a family. Like, well, you know, he's missing from the same area. Are you up? I just don't know about that. So Mum then called Spanish police regarding what she's been told, and that she's on a flight and she'll be in Spain by the night time, and the police arrange a meeting at the police station for 9 a.m. the next day. So on Thursday, the 25th September, the meeting involves Mum and her partner giving a description of Josh, and the police confirming that the body was wearing a local hotel wristband that would match Josh's hotel. So the police say, look, we're 100% sure at this point that it is Josh. A judge will not accept that, though, even though he'd been registered as a missing person. The police said everything he was wearing matched up with it being Josh, and all of the tattoos, etc. As Josh had no fingerprints or dental records in the UK due to, like, he's never been involved in crime or any of those things, DNA tests would need to be done, and they took a DNA test from his mum Dion, and then they were going to match it to Josh's body. Now, this can be done quite quickly. It can be done within a 3 to 4 day period if you're in the police. However, they say it's going to take them 2 months. 2 months they want even to tell this family without any doubt that it is definitely Josh. And they will not allow the family to view the body because they say it may not be Josh, and we can't just let you view any body. So his mum stays for 5 days, hoping there'll be some kind of appeal or decision, and telling them, like, I can't really go home until I can confirm this is my son or not. Like, I need to see him. But they won't do that. And they tell her that she has to go home, and they will not, in Spain, Errol. So they, at this point, they're just saying, look, you need to wait and just see what happens. The family have gone to the area where Josh's body was found. There is no cordon in place, no crime scene, no forensics going on, just nothing. You can't even tell what's gone on in September. So the family go out to the area, and they take, thank you, Managed Business, they take lots of pictures to prove that there's loads of CCTV. And they then say to the police, look, one of these cameras is going to spot him going into that area. And the police go, oh no, they don't work, those cameras. And the ones that do just pick up license plates. Now, opposite where he's found, I'll follow everyone back. Mind your business. Everyone but you. No, I will follow you back when I come to this live. They literally are saying that not one of these cameras works. Now, where the path is, so Josh would have gone upwards from his hotel, away from the bars, the clubs, everything. Away from everything. And all the other things you'd want to go to are down here. He's gone upwards, and then there's a posh housing estate here. That's obviously quite a lot of money, people living in these homes. And he's gone into this little bit here instead, which is a little wooded area. And they reckon none of this, like, almost gated community here have any cameras at all that can actually see the road, which just is absolute bollocks. Then, so the family decide they're going to come back after 5 days. There's nothing they can do there. They want to be with the other children. They want to be with their family. And they're saying it's going to take 2 months, right? So when his mum and stepdad go back to the hotel room where Josh was staying, the kebab he's ordered the night before, the kebab he's even asked the driver that he wants to pay extra to go there and get this kebab because he's hungry to take to his hotel room, has been untouched. It's not eaten. It's not been touched at all. And none of his cash or euros are in the room. And the police then allow his family to take home all of his property, despite the fact they don't even know at this point who the remains belong to, let alone the cause of death. They don't know if this is a murder. They don't know if it's untoward. To me, as a police officer, when you have a young man in his 30s, your first thought should be that it is a crime, okay? Every single police officer in the world is supposed to work these investigations of unexplained deaths of a young person from a murder backwards. So at that point, you collect all the evidence, all forensics, you work it like a crime scene, because if it turns out 2 months later that Josh died of aneurysm or a heart attack, it doesn't matter because you've gathered what you needed to. If it comes out after 2 months he's a murder victim, you fucked up, you've lost everything. So everybody should be following that code of practice. Now, they even allow Josh's mum to come back to the UK with his passport, meaning even if it's not Josh, he's trapped in a country not being able to get home. They literally say take everything. Now, Josh's date of death is written down with the coroner as the 20th or the 21st. So the day of, or the day just after he's left his hotel. So just within 24 hours of him getting there. Now, they put it down as sudden death. So he's died of adult sudden death, the 20th, thank you. He's literally walked into this wood area and he's just died. Now I'm going to stop with this one quickly because I need to show you this area in order for you to understand before I go on to the next bit. Okay. So this is the kind of area that, well, this is the actual area. Thank you, Jeanette. Where Josh actually ended up going. This is where his body was found with the yellow neighbours, right? And when you go to the other side of this, like not looking towards here, there is a housing estate, a really posh housing estate. Now, this area here is the only part of that whole road that has a lay-by where a car can drive into. And it would have taken them, what, a couple of hundred of feet for 2 people to carry his body if they dumped him there, which seems like the most likely thought to me. So when you look at it from above, which is important, I think, you have the posh housing estate here, okay, with the hotel, with the swimming pools, and then Josh would have gone in off this lay-by here, apparently, walked in there, and then just died. Just died. From a medical emergency, according to them, a sudden death. So let me just show you this video. Can I get it big on that side? Okay, let me turn off my ring light. So this is the area. This is his mum and stepdad literally go to that same area. To his family. He didn't have any health issues. He had a mobility slight issue with the way he walked, but not issues that would have taken his life. So if you look here, this is going up the road from the hotel. So this is before you reach the fork where there's the posh homes there, and then the wooded area there. So it's kind of like up this hill. And Josh's family have said, his name's Josh Rogers, due to the fact he did have, what was it called, Ash, that he had that gave him slight mobility problems? Sorry, I don't want to get it wrong. I want to be able to be factual. It meant that he probably wouldn't have been able to walk into that area. CMT he had, thank you. He wouldn't have found it easy just to walk up that massive hill, which was 25 minutes from his hotel. And it's just all uphill. And if you look at the map, hang on, I do have a map in a second. I'm just finding the bit I wanted. Okay, so if you look at this map here, okay, which is really important. Move Josh out of the way a second again. Josh's hotel is here, right? His body is found up here in the middle of nowhere. This is where all the clubs and bars and all the holiday area is, and the beach. Okay, so everything Josh would want to go to as a holidaymaker was down here. But yeah, he took a 25-minute trek all uphill apparently, and then ended up in this area here. Now Josh was a good planner. He had his phone on him. He would have known that everything he needed was downhill and he didn't want to go uphill at all. And this would be where everything was. And in some case, it reminds me of Nathan Osmond's case a little bit like that, when he just started ending up right towards, like in the middle of nowhere, where there had been no lights, no nothing. And it would have been quite clear that everything was back that way. It makes no sense at all. Now, one of the things that is really interesting in this case, before I go back to those notes, was Josh's phone has never been found. His money was gone. And his phone has been turned on several times since he died. Now, for me, most clearly, I would have a massive interest as a police officer to trace that phone, to ping that phone and find out its location, because whoever has that phone has the answers to this case. And I don't understand why Spanish police don't do a better job of these cases. Look at Brett Dryden. His phone had all the answers. His family tracked it to an exact property, and police still said, prove nothing. We're not going to get it. You can track the phone from where Stuart Dryden's body was found. Brett Dryden, sorry, I don't want to call him Stuart. Brett Dryden's body, track him right up until the home of the traveller site, and back and down and back and down. And still nothing. So, it says here, as a family, we believe Josh would not have walked to these woods on his own, as it was the complete opposite location to any of the places he was planning to visit. We were also told by many Spanish locals that the wooded area Josh was found in is not an area Brits or any tourists would go to for any reason. Josh also had a condition from birth called CMT, which affected Josh's feet and his mobility. Josh would not have gone somewhere knowing it was an extremely uneven ground. It's a very harsh statement, but as a family, we believe Josh was put in the woods after his death or when he was extremely ill, meaning he couldn't leave there. Someone, or at least a few people, are involved in what must have happened to Josh. While waiting for DNA, now this is heartbreaking, and I'm going to talk about this because you need to understand truly what this family have been through. They had to wait for DNA for 12 weeks, and Spanish authorities made the decision to not store the body correctly or embalm the body, meaning that Josh was so badly decomposed that he could not be brought back to the UK without being cremated first. When his sister demanded to see his body, even to identify a tattoo on his arm, she was told, well, he's covered in maggots now. Do you really want to go and see him? I can't imagine ever being put in that situation where they knew what they were waiting for, DNA. They knew he should have been embalmed. They absolutely knew that the family at some point would want to bring his body back, and they would want a second autopsy, and they would want people to look at what had happened, and they will never have that chance now to go back to have the second autopsy. Some of the other wording used to his sister to describe her own brother was truly horrific. I can't even talk about it, but they were just truly, and please remember that for Ash and Dion, who are in here, Josh's mum and sister, this is their baby brother, their son. Like, to hear those words and to, like, I literally am tearing up because I've got a brother. Like, I've got two. I can't imagine the callousness in using those words. Like, families at some level don't need to know about a decomposition process. They don't need to know the ins and outs. All they needed to know was, as the police, you should have shown enough respect to Josh, or even whoever you thought that could be at the time. You didn't even need to know whose body it belonged to know that he needed to be embalmed. He needed to be stored correctly. No matter whose body it belonged to, somebody loved them. And you've literally treated him like he's a bit of an evidence, and not even, like, it's just that part I'll never get over. There is no excuse. There's no anything. There's no excuse. Josh went on a holiday. Like, he was taking some time out. His family absolutely knew he was going to be fine. They know Josh. They knew, Josh was quite vulnerable to trust in people. He saw good in everyone, and he wanted to just talk to anyone and get on with everyone. There was nothing malicious about him, nothing criminal about him. Nothing that meant he was a high risk victim, that his family were worried about him being out there. He'd gone to several other places before, and his travel experience was growing, and so was his confidence at doing things himself. And you can see by this trip, he'd absolutely planned things out and planned what money he'd need, where he was going, and he'd done all the right things, right? He told his mum, like, this is the hotel I'm staying in, this is who's taking me, this is how I'm getting there, this is my taxi driver's name. He had absolutely, he's a lovely looking man. He's always got such an open face. He always looks so happy in every picture you see in the media and that his family have shared online. From what I can work out from Josh, he was a loyal and loving friend. His family meant everything to him, and so did the Wolves football club. And he just literally would have loved to go on holiday, have a couple of beers, watch the game. He didn't want to. He wasn't doing anything that should have ended like this. So the family they tried the hardest to fight. Like, they wanted to bring his body back to the UK, but due to the condition, they just couldn't. Josh Rogers, they just could not, and he had to be cremated. So at this point, we're at a standstill. Like I said to you earlier, I spoke to Ash this week, and she had said, like, right now, the police have closed it down, the courts have closed it down, and the only thing we can do... I'm so sorry, Ash. I'm so sorry, Dion. Like, this cannot be easy. Keep listening to these details over and over again for you. I appreciate you being here. The family's only hope really is people coming forward. People coming forward who may have seen Josh that day, who may have seen people around Josh, may have seen why he went that way, where he was going, who he was with. Or it may be just people who were staying there or local to that area who have heard of similar things before. People being taken and robbed. Did someone take Josh up to this area to rob him and it just went wrong and he ended up dead? So September of 2025, I will be putting a video up later to explain the dates we're looking at and when we need people to come forward. But we'll be looking for people who stayed there anytime from around about the 18th, really, because we need to know when they got there. I say I'm a lot, don't I, Sue Pashini? But you don't have to stay in here. I'm trying to think, and I've got ADHD and my head goes. So we need people that stayed really from like the 18th to around maybe about the 25th. So that whole period of just before it happened, just after it happened, where people would have heard stuff, seen stuff. And it may be that you've been there last year and you were in a similar situation. I say it all the time, and now you've mentioned it, I'll say it another 150 times. So you'll trigger my ADHD straight even more. So we're going to read this. So let me have a look. So this is some of the appeals the family have asked for. No. Anyone who stayed in one of these hotels on the 20th. So I'll tell you the hotels in a second. So it's from that picture, right? So anyone staying in that kind of group of hotels here. Okay, so I'll put this in the video. This includes the hotel that Josh was staying at, which was the Blue Sea Mont Vista Hawaii Hotel in Lorette de Mar. So anyone staying in those hotels. Now, if, you know, we just want them to come forward, they may not know anything, but they may just have that 1% of insight that pushes this into more people coming forward, or us being able to narrow who we're looking for. So it says, on the 20th of September 2025, he left the hotel around 12:23. He never came back. We need to know what direction he walked in, or if he got into a car. It's vital we find out his final moments, because he was found deceased in the woodland 3 days later. And this is what he was wearing on the CCTV. So let me just go to this. So this is the last CCTV of him. This is in the hallway to his room, and he's talking to a cleaner. You can see that there. I'll just show a couple more pictures of Josh just so you can see. This is the hotel he was staying in, which I'll put this in the video as well, just so we can get people to come forward. And in every picture I see of Josh, he's just smiling. He is absolutely just smiling, and he just is always looking happy. And what a loss to the world that we're just literally... I just can't count how many Spanish men we're just losing on the streets of Spain, and they just don't care. I haven't seen one of them truly investigated properly. I done another video on my page this morning about a young 19-year-old who was mowed down by a car in a targeted attack, and his mum was burying him on the 6th of January this year, and they phoned her an hour before and said, we still got his heart, by the way, and we're keeping it. What part of your investigation do you still need to do that you only need his heart? When he was killed in a horrific car accident, and his mum's saying, like, his heart is everything. His heart's the bit I love the most, and I can't bury it. It doesn't make any sense. A guy called Harry, like, I put a video up tonight, and I can't imagine it. Then we've got other cases. Brett Dryden, Nathan Osman, John George, Jay Slater. The names are just adding up of these people who are going on holiday. They're from 19 to mid-30s. They're just never coming home. And every single time there's no investigation done, no help to the family, no compassion, no love shown to the families, no nothing. The only investigating we see done in any of these cases, John George, his family had to do everything. Brett Dryden, his family have to do everything. Josh Rogers, his family have to do everything. Nathan Osman, his family, the only ones doing anything. How can this just keep happening? Harry Begg, his family are the only ones doing anything. There's no proper investigation. None. It's always young men. And it's never really people that you would expect this to happen to. And when I say that, it's not men running around with guns or drugs or doing all this random stuff. It's people who just go on holiday go for a break for a couple of days and never get to come home. Never get to come home. And it's all over Spain as well. I mean, Brett Dryden had lived in Spain, in Oaxaca for years. And he was killed in his own home. Blood prints all up and down the wall. A head injury that looked like he'd been hit with an axe. 3 men running away on CCTV. Thousands of pounds missing from his property. His phone pinging all over a traveller site. Police said he died from an aneurysm. A fucking aneurysm. An aneurysm. You could have got anyone from a tennis coach to someone who literally has never had a job a day in their life, and they could have figured out it was a murder. Like, you don't even have to have any experience. Like, the police who got to the scene said, oh my God, he's been attacked with an axe. And now they go, no, sorry, it was just an aneurysm. No, he had an aneurysm, that's why he hit his head. He had a massive gash, gone. 3 men with balaclavas running from his house. Nope, no murder. The police, the civil guard, the police in Spain are absolutely corrupt. They can be bought so easily. Absolutely bought. Look, I mean, just in the last month, they bailed John George's killers, and someone else has died since. You absolutely can pay them off. Now he's just racking up bodies and more families grieving. Jay Slater, I still believe something untoward happened to Jay Slater. You can't explain why his body wasn't found, why sniffer dogs, no one. There was no kind of outside activity. His body was in such good condition when he was found. There was no insect activity, all of that. You'll never tell me Jay Slater was laying there the whole time. However, his family have decided that they want it to be an accidental death, so it would just be closed that way. Like, if they actually wanted justice and they wanted to fight for justice, they would have the same thing with the Civil Guard going, not us. The Civil Guard didn't find him. They didn't know where he was, apparently. And the day the family brought in that search team from the Dutch search team, the Spanish police said, give us a second, you can go out after lunch, and then they found his body. The Civil Guard went down and retrieved his body. But you didn't know he was there. Sickening come out, from the Dutch team. And within seconds of them allowing the team to search, Spanish police said, oh, we've just found him. He's on the rock surface. But how did they not know? They brought the best search dogs in Spain over from Madrid. They didn't find Jay Slater. And I'm sorry, and as gruesome as this is, but a body that had been out in the Spanish heat for 30 days, absolutely. It would have been quite apparent where he was. You'd had vultures circling overhead. You would have had the smell of decom. It would have been horrific around that area. There's no other way of saying it. Look how many searches we had, Laura, right out at that point. You could see people searching that area. They're like, oh no, he's in an impossible area. Clothes found next to all that weird stuff. There's no way you could tell me it just didn't happen. All these cases, I believe, start at home and they finish in Spain. I understand what you're saying with that, but I don't think this is the case here. So Josh had never been to that area before. He never knew anyone in that area. So, and his family are quite open. They want to find the truth. So there is nothing to tell us that Josh had made any plans beforehand to head out there and get involved in any criminal activity. Do you know what I think? If I had to guess with this case, and I had to just kind of guess with what's happened here, because I can't tell you the whole thing, and this is just a guess, obviously it's my kind of thing on other cases we've worked on. I believe Josh come out of his hotel that day and he got into a car. They don't mean a home deal, they mean start in the UK. So that, and I'm saying like that's not the case. I believe it sounds worse than it is. They were trying to say like most of the cases it starts with what's going on in the UK, and then when they go over abroad, yeah, not in your home or anything like that. No one thinks that. I believe Josh got into the wrong car. I believe someone said to him, where are you going, mate? And Josh is like, just going down towards the bars or whatever. And then they started driving up the hill. And I believe the text message, due to like time differences on English and Spanish phone, I believe Josh may have sent the text around that time to say, mate, I fucked up. Like something was happening where he was thinking like, I'm not even going in the right direction. And I believe at that point, somebody tried to rob Josh. And at that point, something happened that meant he died. I don't think he was giving up his stuff easily or something, and I believe it must have taken at least two people to either injured or dead to carry Josh into that area. Because right now we can't trust the Spanish police. A, because they didn't even store his body correctly, and they forced it so that Josh's family couldn't identify him by eye, and obviously though he can't have a second autopsy. So just them telling me that Josh had no injuries all over his body, there was no signs of violence, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. There was a reason why you didn't store his body correctly, even though it's normal procedure. There's a reason why you wanted his family to be forced in to cremate him rather than be able to bring him back. Lorette Damara, it's Frankie. To me, it seems like there is probably some kind of criminal gang working in that area and robbing tourists. No photos. God, you look rough. Thank you, Teresa. You've got your dog as a profile picture, which says a lot about how you probably look. But thank you for that. We're doing True Crime Live, and it's really important that you've come in to say that, so well done. Yeah, to me, there's probably some kind of criminal gang or something working in the area, which meant that Spanish Guard are covering up something bigger than just what happened to Josh. Now, just because Josh died, it doesn't mean other people aren't being robbed in that same area, and that's why we need people to come forward. Like, there may have been something that happened that day. Someone was particularly angry. Josh fought back. Josh didn't have as much on him as they thought they were going to. That's crossed over into murder. Just because other bodies aren't popping up in that area doesn't mean there wasn't 15 other tourists. I just think it's weird that people come into troll when we're talking about someone's family. I just think it's weird. But let them do what they're going to do. We're talking about Josh. There has to be other things that happened in the area that kind of built up to to this. And I imagine anyone who's doing this kind of behaviour have probably done it again since also. So what we need is people to come forward who've stayed in a hotel, who've had similar experiences. And maybe they're looking for lone travellers. So maybe if you're in a couple, there's other people, they're not doing it. But I personally believe when you look at the Nathan Osmond case, that it's very similar. Nathan was on his way back to his hotel, although at night time, and from where Nathan ended up, he could only have got there in that little time if he was taken there in some kind of taxi. There was scuff marks at the top of the cliff, and one of his trainers was found separately, as if like someone had been holding onto his feet and he had gone off the cliff. So I think as well that Nathan was someone who, we saw him on the CCTV, he wasn't walking funny, he hadn't had a lot to drink, but he couldn't have gone up there that quickly. Hey Sonia, are you okay? So to me, it's like, you know, there's a lot of people. We saw in Nathan's clip, right? He was walking back along the seafront and working women, girls working in the sex trade, were hassling him, and he was saying, let go of my arm, let go of my arm. And then we saw the 3 people off to the scene, so it could have been her and her pimps, it could have been anything like that. These women will harass these men, people like Nathan, like Josh, to try and scam them out of money. And a lot of men aren't interested in that. They don't want to sleep with a prostitute. They just want to be on holiday and have a couple of drinks. So we don't know at what, but this is very similar, Josh's case to Nathan. You know, 2 men. Nathan wasn't on a lone holiday, but he was staying at a different hotel to his friends because he'd booked last minute. A lot of these cases have a very similar theme that run through them, and they all have one thing. They have 2 things in common. 1, their loved one went on holiday, never got to come home, and 2, the Spanish police have fucked the investigation and don't care. That's what I think. Tartan Group. I think they work in groups, and I think we're probably looking at 2. I think this is a 2-person minimum crime. I mean, Josh wasn't an unhealthy guy. He wasn't someone who couldn't fight back. He's a young man. I think it would have taken at least 2 people to have either held him or to carry him to that location. That's my personal beliefs. Because I don't think Josh got to that wooded area by himself, and I don't think he would have walked into that area. And we know that because of that big housing estate here, he was heavy. Me too. If he went up that hill, and then you have the posh housing estate there, and then the little bit where Josh was found there, if someone had tried to force Josh into that area, he would have been loud and he would have kicked off, and they would have known about it. So it seems to me, under the cover of darkness, just where that the lay-by is, I believe probably later that night or even the next day, they've pulled into that lay-by and carried him just far enough in, because he's only 100 feet down. I honestly do believe he was carried to that area, dumped there. It's a dumping ground, and then they've taken off. But I don't believe the Spanish police, there is no physical sign of violence on him. You would have to expect, even at a bare minimum, if Josh had walked into that area by himself, him to have been scratched up, scraped, stinging nettles. It was an overgrown area. You would expect there to be some signs of what had happened, minimum. Here. So you would expect him to have some scratches, some scrapes, like his hands would be scratched up, like his legs definitely would be. You're going to have some kind of, especially if he run into the area, if he was trying to hide or whatever, which I believe that's the only way he's gone in there on his own, is if he's being chased into the area. That's the only thing I could think of. He was being chased. At some point, some violent assault has happened just away from there. Like if they pulled into the lay-by and Josh started running, and he wouldn't have been able to run fast due to his CMT, they would quite easily caught up with him at this point. So, right at the point where I'm going to put up a video today just to appeal. Did he not have an autopsy? The family aren't entitled to it for up to a year, I believe. So we don't have it. And there's unlikely to be photos and stuff, because if they're trying to hide something and they won't even let you view the body, very unlikely you're going to get photos. They'll say it's not a criminal investigation, there was no need. So we can't trust anything. An autopsy's not complete yet, no. His last message was this: This one. Toxicology took a year, it's just mad. 12 weeks for a DNA test was a complete lie. There's no way it takes that long. Especially when you can't even ID a body yet. So if two families are waiting, you could have done that so much quicker. It makes no sense. It's all a part of the cover-up process of it, unfortunately. It just makes me absolutely sick. Mate, I fucked up good and proper. Family friend, they were away from their phone and they literally just didn't see that they had a missed call straight after. By the time they tried to call him back, he was no longer on his phone. I think I've just answered everyone's question. We don't know, Lou. We think it's his last message, definitely the way he would have spoke. And it seems weird that yes, someone else could have sent it, to be fair, but we know that Josh was with his phone at that point because it was just before he left the hotel, I think. Have you got access to his socials? Did Josh, I was reading your question wrong. Did Josh have Facebook and stuff like that? Have you logged in? What's up, PT? Why are you saying sorry? The camera's not working is an absolute bullshit. What about a posh home complex? No one had cameras facing who was coming in. No, don't believe it. You can't get access to Josh's social media. Okay. It's all too convenient. In every single case I covered, the CCTV either was not working, it was delayed. It's okay, DT, I didn't see it. Did he have Find My iPhone? I don't even know if he had an iPhone. His family in India, so they will answer the questions. Why are they asking me to collect 10 outfits? I don't need to collect 10 outfits, do I? No. Okay, so we didn't have it. Okay, so I'm going to get some videos up today to ask for people to come forward if they were in that hotel complex or if they were in the area. If people can repost these videos. Josh's case isn't one that's hit massive attention. His family are doing all the interviews they can. There are things to see. I also really need you guys to follow this page, Justice for Josh Rogers, because it will give you so much a better understanding of some of the stuff that I can't show you throughout the live, because it's either doesn't come across well on my live. It's better for you to go and watch. And this page here will show you exactly the family walk in the area that he went to, where everything is situated. It will show you their media appeals, all of those things. If you can, not just go over there and watch this stuff, but repost it all. And the Facebook group as well, Justice for Josh Rogers. It's really important. We need to show people, even the Spanish police, that we do care. There are a lot of people that care, and we're not going to forget it until you look into this case properly. And it's only by sharing on your social media the family's appeal, for instance, so they're looking for people who stayed at that hotel at that time, that you're going to find people that have come forward. This is one of those cases where we just need to get it in front of the right eyes, and somebody may have that information. Somebody may have, I hope this isn't upsetting to say, some people may have of seeing Josh shouting out of a cab window or an unmarked car, help me. There may have been that. There may be people who got into a taxi the day before or an unmarked car, and they were taken to a similar area and they managed to get away. There may be all of those things. We don't know yet, Dolly. So we need to get it to the right people before it's too long down the line and Spanish police go, it's too late. There must have been people, Lauren, more people than just a cleaner who had conversations with Josh, who spoke to him, who kind of, may have seen him. My eyes got funny again. In September of 2025. So, it's about getting it to the right people.